You're listening to Ecto Portal, a journey into the unknown with Anthony Anderson and Verna Wilson.
I hope that you are seated comfortably, with the light turned down and the curtains drawn.
Hello, and welcome to another journey into the unexplained, the unexplored Ecto Portal. I'm Anthony Anderson, your host, and I'm here with my co-host,
Verna Wilson.
And tonight's show,
we're going to be talking about developing mediumship and using it for ghost investigations, for ghost hunting, when you're investigating the spirit world. And we're going to be talking about how you can develop those mediumship qualities and use it to your advantage for those investigations and how it can enhance them.
I think we both used a little bit of that in the investigations that we've done.
We have, and you're definitely, the more you do it, the more your sensitive spots and your intuition comes out. But I'm going to be giving tools on how you can make it come out even more so. So even when you're not investigating, sometimes you have your sensitivity is on alert, and you can actually sense the spirit world even when you're not investigating. And of course, you're going to be doing this all very carefully and in a protected way, where you're still going about your normal life, but you have that extra sensitive come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think any investigator who's done that for a while will probably tell you that the most important tool you have in your arsenal is yourself.
Absolutely.
Is your normal sight, sound, touch, and then all the senses that we don't necessarily understand too.
Right. And one of the reasons why I'm talking about this is because some of us who I've been actually had this since I was a child, and most children have it. Mm-hmm. Children are open, but it didn't really go away as I grew up. So I've learned a lot on the way, and I'm going to be telling everybody how you can control it, actually, because sometimes when you actually have it come out, it can be kind of scary and it can be kind of overwhelming. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to show you how you can work with it, not control it, but work with it.
Yeah.
And then use it to your advantage, and you have it in you anyway. So this just makes it all the more, it actually enhances other things in your life too.
All right, so that'll be what we're going to cover in this
Tonight.
episode.
That's right.
Meet the most amazing doll of all time. She's Mattel's fantastic new Charmin' Chatty, the doll who really plays with you. She actually says 120 different things. Listen.
Okay, and now we're going to go on to tonight's topic.
Right. This is going to be about using mediumship for ghost investigations, and actually not just for ghost investigations, but if you want any kind of communication with the spirit world, whether you're investigating or whether you're simply curious about it, this is actually going to be giving you an extra advantage. We actually tend to be open to the spirit world in our own way anyway. Mm-hmm. A lot of the times, how many times have we all have all of us, or at one point or another, sat there and we thought we saw somebody just for a moment.
Like a brief glimpse?
Like a brief glimpse, like we did at the Columbarium.
But we both do that.
We both do that a lot.
Every day.
Every day, yeah, right.
I did a couple, day before yesterday when I got home from work.
Uh-huh.
I was coming out of the bathroom and I literally saw the shoulder of someone going from my room into the kitchen. That stuff doesn't scare me.
Right.
But it does happen. It happens to you. It happens to me. And I think we're aware of it. That's why we remember.
We're aware of it, but I think that other people who aren't aware of it, when it happens to them, it catches them by surprise.
But I don't think they know what it is, so they discard it quickly. I think whereas we acknowledge and understand it a little more, we remember it better.
We totally do. But then when you ask them, they say, well, I think I had an experience once. Then they describe what is actually an experience of the spirit world. And they say, I didn't know what it was, or I didn't understand it because I normally don't see things like that. So we're gonna be talking about some basic tools that you can work with, whether you're a beginner or you're actually used to this. And these are all. It's all about going inward, because the more inward that you go within yourself, and the more you raise. And I know this sounds very New Agey. I'm not a New Agey person, but
You are too. Shut up. No, just kidding.
Sometimes it seems like it, but I don't consider myself a New Agey person because I don't like New Agey stuff. But there are some common tools that go way back before New Age, such as meditation and going into the silence. And have you ever noticed when we're sitting in a silent place and it's very quiet and we're just sitting and we're taking in the atmosphere?
Do you mean like an investigation place?
An investigation, or even...
I was going to say like the Geneva Car Barn, we both sort of sat there.
When we both sort of sat there, that's an example. Or even if you... well, I don't know if you go into these places often, but if you walk into a church and it's quiet, and you're sitting there and it's very quiet, and you're thinking about things, and you're thinking about yourself, and all of a sudden you start sensing the atmosphere, everything becomes more magnified. This is the tools that I'm going to be talking about to enhance that. And the more you do that, the more something within you starts to, the word kick in. When I mean kick in, your senses start to rise, and you start to see things differently, and then all of a sudden your gifts start coming out. Now it's what's called opening the chambers of the soul. And the inner chambers are bringing out different gifts and talents that are within you. Take, for example, the gift of clairaudience, where you can hear something or someone that's not normally heard within regular hearing. Clairvoyance, where you actually see spirit form, but you see it clearer than the average person, and you're more open to it than the average person. And then there's clairsentience, which is where you're sensing something. And clairsentience is very important because I think a lot of people experience clairsentience first before they experience the other two.
I was just going to say, would you probably agree that almost everybody has a certain level of clairsentience?
Absolutely.
We all have a portion of that.
Right.
Maybe
now,
not the other two, but that one I think everybody has.
That one I think everybody has a certain one. And the reason, one of the tools I'm going to give right now, if anybody wants to know if they have clairsentience, now you know where everybody calls the gut area, the solar plexus, the gut area. That's right above the stomach, where you're, where you're
below
right below the breast, the chest area, right. If you are walking someplace or you are thinking about something and all of a sudden it starts turning and getting warm, what that is telepathy. You're telepathically, telepathy, yes. You're picking up on something. And so whenever you feel that warmth, stop and think, okay, I'm picking up on something, and then take a moment actually to be quiet and to think about it. What are you picking up on? And if you can write it down, that's even better. because later, if it doesn't make sense to you now, you may go back to it a couple days later, and it will make sense to you what you were picking up on.
I think there's one more. I don't know if you have it on there. It's when people have it's the sense of, it's a smell and it's a taste. Because I have this, and other people have too. There is a term for it where I get a metallic smell and a metallic taste in my mouth just before something's going to happen. It's not, usually, unfortunately, it's something bad, so it alerts me to be careful.
That's another one too. The reason I don't mention that is because that one is the most uncommon one. And if you have it, then that means that that's unique, and some people have it, but not often. So
I'd use it because I used to fall down a lot when I was a kid, and I would have that metallic smell and taste just before I fell down and while I fell down. So as I got older, I learned that when that comes, I look around me to make sure nothing's going to happen.
Right.
And I'm more alert and careful. So.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, I haven't ran across too many people who actually have had that metallic taste and smell like you have. But that's an interesting trait. And actually, I'm wondering if you were given that trait as a gift, because I do feel that we were given those traits as gifts. Yeah. And some people have all three or all four of those, but not everybody has all four. Some of them have a special.
Had the NDE experience, near-death experience too.
We both had that. So you and I, we both have a lot of unique, I would say, gifts with us that are not common with other people, and we both have that intuitive antenna. Now for clairsentience, clairaudience. Mm-hmm. How many times have we been walking someplace, or we're sitting down, and all of a sudden we hear a ringing in our ears, or our ear starts to buzz in one ear?
Oh yeah.
That's clairsentience, and that means that you're sensing the spirit world, and I'm not being new agey, but a lot of people do have one or two spirits that hang out, that are close to them, and it could be an ancestor, it could be a so-called guardian angel.
It could just be someone who's infatuated and follows you.
That's true too.
It happens.
That's very true.
I get that vibration in my ear.
Right. So
ringing and pop.
Right. So that's clairaudience, and I feel you should do the same thing. Stop to think about what's going on, and then in your mind figure out, why am I hearing this? Why am I sensing? Why is this coming around? Write it down. Doesn't make sense, just leave it, and again, or if it does make sense, then go with it. But
yeah, I think like you just said, the importance of, anytime you have any experience like this, always sit down and write everything you can.
Sit down and write everything down.
Because you're going to forget. If you think, oh, you know what, I'll write this down when I get home tonight, you're going to forget important little details. It's like when you have a dream and you wake up.
Right.
And you write it down right away, because you're going to remember little things that you won't remember 2 hours later.
Right, and I'm going to be getting to dreams too, because dreams are very important with this. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons, and so I suggest, if you want to bring those out, or you want to find out which of these gifts have I inherited, or which of these are that I specialize in, because everybody specializes in one or two, or all four, I suggest you sit down by yourself in a silent place and be comfortable. You can have music in the background, or you can just have total silence, and just close your eyes, sit back, and put your hands out. And the reason I say put your palms out is because your palms have magnetic energy inside your palms.
Isn't that chakra?
Your chakra. There's chakras in your palms, and you're bringing out, and you're opening them, and you're actually bringing out your light centers with your palms. Mm-hmm. And you can actually test those light centers if you put your palm next to somebody else's palm, and you actually put it close, but you're not touching it, and you put it in a circular motion. And anybody can try this. You're going to feel heat. You're going to feel heat, and the more you do it, the hotter you're going to feel. Mm-hmm. And anybody can try this. But during meditation, if you do that with your palms open, and you just close your eyes, what you're going to feel is the energy rising. it's going to be rising. So you're raising the vibration.
Yeah.
You're going to be raising it, and you want to raise it. You don't want to lower it. Now, you notice that when we've done shows with people who've lowered their vibrations, those are the ones that, I hate to say it, I'm not trying to scare anybody, that became possessed by different entities, and they've had to, and it's usually...
I want to clarify that before you go any further.
Right.
Certain people, it may not be the traditional sense of possession, but
right.
they become depressed, they have low energy,
right.
they have a lot of problems in their life.
That's what I'm trying to...
To me, that is a very realistic form of possession.
Very. It is. It is. And it's usually with very, very low energy. So that's why when you're doing this, you're raising the energy. You're actually raising it. And you want to raise it as much as possible. And I can actually look at someone's aura, and I can see whether it's low or it's high. If it's very low...
What is my aura?
What's your aura? Your aura is actually, right now, kind of I wouldn't say messy, it's very swirling right now. It's a busy aura.
Yeah,
it's a very busy aura. There's a lot going on in your head right now, and there's a lot of thinking and a lot going on in your head, and it's actually, your telepathic centers are swirling a lot. It's, I would say it's not high, but it's not really low. It's just kind of swirling. It's busy.
That sounds like mine.
Yeah. So you want to raise it, but after you raise it, you actually want to not have it stay there raised. And the reason I'm saying that is because have you ever had something in your head and it stayed in your crown center and it was in your head all the time? Have you ever had that? Where you've thought about something.
Like a state of being?
A state of being, and it's in your head all the time.
Until someone breaks you out of it?
Sort of. Until someone breaks you out of it. Okay, let's put example. If you're raising your vibrations a lot, it's going to go to your crown center.
Right.
And those are your telepathic centers. But you want to ground it so that it's not staying there. You want to ground it so that you're able to just go back to normal life, and you're not in that state where it's always in your head, where all that energy, it's a lot of energy in your head. Okay, that's what I'm trying to convey. Have you ever had so much energy in your head, and then when you've had the chance to relax, suddenly the energy dissipated?
So you're saying you're charged, you basically decharge.
Right, decharge, right. And it's actually a form of protection when you do that, because when you're meditating and you're bringing out your centers, you're actually bringing
you're going into the zone, I guess.
You're going into the zone, and not only are you going into the zone, but you're bringing out everything else about you too. Like take, for example, if you owed somebody $100 a couple years ago, they really needed it, you never gave it to them. That's an example. That memory is going to come up, and you're going to feel really, really bad. And you're going to go, oh my God, why is this coming up? Oh my God, I feel so bad. All the stuff that you felt bad about or that you felt good about is going to come out.
Your baggage.
Your baggage. It's all going to come out. So I'm warning everybody know that that's the scary side of it. So when you feel after a few minutes, after 5 minutes or so, you want to go back to normal life, I suggest that you take all that energy from your crown and you pretend like there's a cord coming from your crown all the way down your body and all the way down into the ground, into the earth as far as you could, and then have it connect to the earth, and then have it come back up so that you have some of your energy back, and then you can go back to normal life, and you're grounded and you're feeling good, and your energy's good, but you're not feeling overwhelmed and you're not feeling overcharged with all of this. And then you're going to find that the more you do this...
how long would that take on the average? Is that how you start?
That's how you... Well, no, this is what you do every time you meditate and go inward.
That's what I mean. How long would that whole process, do you think?
I would say you can do it anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, so
you only need 5 minutes to do this.
It depends on your own personal choice.
On your own personal choice. But really, you only need 5 minutes to do this, and you can do it. And then you're going to notice that your daily life is a little different. Is starting to be a little different. Your centers are going to be picking up on things more, and your energy is going to be raised. Probably your concentration is going to be better too.
And your patience.
Your patience, definitely. I sure could use that. I admit I don't do it enough. And and also people are going to treat you differently, believe it or not, because there's something about you that's changing, and you're the whole. This sounds cornball to say, but it's true. The whole person is coming out. Mm-hmm. You're actually merging your spirit self with your physical self. So let's go to ghost investigations. When you go into a place and you're doing this, and you're already bringing all of that out in you, you're going to be walking around. You're going to be sitting in silence anyway, because that's what you do during an investigation.
You'd think.
You would think, or you hope.
I was just going to say, we both know if I'm having an investigator with other people,
it's not always
some people
that way.
Barrel in with every piece of equipment known to mankind. They
it's
fumble,
noisy.
They make noise.
Right.
They drop things. They constantly break the concentration. Whereas we go in, and I'm a big supporter of sit down with your fellow
and be
teammates.
Quiet. Yes.
Be very quiet and actually sit in silence. We did that once at Preston Castle, where every team, there was 4 teams in 7 places of the castle.
Yeah.
We agreed from 9 o'clock to 9:30. We all sit down and don't move a muscle.
Yeah.
Don't say a word. Don't make a sound for half an hour, just so we can all experience the castle. And people started to really listen and saw stuff that they didn't before.
That takes patience, and I admit that all of that is not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. People are impatient by nature.
Yeah, it's true.
People
especially if you're new to investigation.
If you're new to investigations,
you want something to happen
now. And you've seen the TV shows, and you think it's going to be drama. We got surprise for you.
Oh, it's drama.
It's
but
drama,
not
but not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can happen, but you're going to be doing a lot of waiting and a lot of sitting, and you're just going to have to be like you were when you were in school. Sit down and be quiet.
And the biggest thing that bugs me about people who do EVPs, and I always say this, and people give me dirty looks like, oh, what do you're just interrupting me and I'm doing my EVPs, is people will concentrate, they'll ask a question, but they never stop to think. They're ready with 5, 6 questions, and they fire them off. Now, if you're asked a question, do you want to have someone give you time to answer, or do you want someone to barrel over the top?
Oh, you definitely want time to answer, and that's why this is what I'm explaining about using mediumship and meditation and bringing mediumship qualities. And the reason I'm mentioning meditation is because it brings out the mediumship, because you're going to be developing that listening ear, and you're going to sit back and you're probably going to be able to sense or hear the answers.
Well, I think you really start to develop a sense of hearing that's above the average person, because you start to really identify layers of sound.
Absolutely.
What do you hear 2 miles away? What do you hear in the street? What do you hear in the building?
Absolutely.
Is there wind? Is there an air conditioner? Is there a car outside? Is someone breathing? Is somebody making tapping noises? And you tag it all, but you start to realize what's what. So when you do hear something like, whoa, that was not something we normally would hear here.
Exactly. And one of the other enhancements that you're going to be experiencing, and I think you're familiar with this, Anthony, you're going to be able to tell your thoughts from the thoughts that you're picking up from another spirit being.
Yep.
You can feel. I feel that when it's somebody else's thoughts, my whole body feels it. Mm-hmm. It's like a thought, like a word or a thought that came in, and I know that wasn't me. And I thought, wait a minute, I heard a name.
Have you ever had someone walk through you?
Hmm?
Have you ever had someone walk through you where you felt the energy? Once I've had that happen.
I haven't had anybody walk, not through me, but behind me. I did. That was at the cemetery in Hollywood, the famous one. There was somebody walking behind me, and they were walking so close they bumped into me, and it was and there was nobody there.
It's that energy that bursts into you.
Yeah, he was right behind me, and he bumped into me, and there was nobody behind me, and it scared the living crap out of me.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and I did not.
Was there vibration too?
I felt like a person. It didn't feel like a vibration. It felt like a person.
So it was really strong.
Yeah, it was very strong, and I heard the footsteps. And I told my friend who was visiting a gravesite, I said, let's get out of here. She said, I'm not done yet. I said, well, I am.
Yeah. Mine literally was walking into it was an investigation here in town, an old boys reformatory. Very top floor was an old surgical operating room. And this is back in the 20s when they couldn't afford to send kids to the hospital.
Yeah.
So they would do these operations in there. And I walked in by myself, and I literally felt this rush of energy go through me, and the pressure was enormous. It was so bad, I had to leave the room. I've never had that happen before or since.
Oh, wow.
And it was the only time that I've ever felt it that strong, but it was really unsettling.
Because your body reacts to it. Because my sister Linda, she was in Mexico visiting. We have a family. My mother's family have a family vault in the church in Mexico. And Linda was visiting the vault there, and a ghost walked right through her, and her whole body went cold, and she shivered, and she actually fainted.
Wow.
Yeah, it was that strong, and she had to be revived. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
It's almost like they took her energy with it.
It was very scary.
That had to be scary.
She's actually been clairvoyant and clairsentient and she's been all three all her life. Linda.
But now she's possessed.
Yeah, that's right, Linda. You're possessed now. But she's. We joke about Linda, folks.
Of course we do. We love Linda.
Yeah, Linda's my sister, and she's somebody we know very well, so we joke about her.
I miss Linda.
Yeah, I do too. But one of the important things is that it's that in addition to raising vibrations, bringing out gifts, and accessing information from the subconscious, you're going to be experiencing. You're going to start to see faces. You're going to get messages. You're going to receive messages from those in spirit because you're opening yourself to their realm. You're actually opening to that. So that's when you start to make contact. And the more you work on this, and the more you enhance this practice, the more you're going to be making contact, and you're going to be able to. The spirit messages are going to get clearer. The communication's going to get clearer, and also it's going to protect you from sensing something negative or sensing something that you don't really want to get involved in.
I would imagine the more you do it, the more in control you'll be of it.
Right.
So when there's other energies that you don't normally sense,
right,
you'll pick up on it.
Yes.
And be able to stay away from it is easier.
Right. And I strongly suggest everybody, when you're going within. Of course, I've already talked about grounding, but it's a form of protection. Because let's take, for example, if you don't protect yourself and you're meditating, you're opening yourself, just like the old commercial, open, right?
open.
Right.
Target.
Right. So if you keep doing that, you're an open doorway, and that's not good. And I see people who don't do this, and they're still open doorways, and they just welcome anything. And I just think, and I cringe sometimes. I'm just like, oh no, but I have a few times. I
think people that have different levels of tolerance too.
Right.
But I think you have to know your own tolerance. Some people do that have zero idea what tolerance is.
Absolutely.
And especially the newbies. They'll threaten, they'll provoke, they'll welcome in, and they don't realize, you know what, you may not want to do that.
Yes, and I understand why they're enthusiastic, because when you're trying to find out what lays on the other side of life, and whether you can actually sense that. I understand the enthusiasm. That's why we do this, and that's why we study it.
Yeah.
But it's not always a safe thing to do, and it's not always a desirable thing to do when you're just letting your tolerance go low. Discernment and protecting yourself are very, very important, and actually it makes it better, because you're going to be able to sense what are real spirit messages, and you're going to be able to sense something really good from your investigations to somebody playing games with you, and something ugly coming and following you in your house, and all of a sudden you notice that weird stuff's happening in your. I've seen it happen. Weird things happening in your house. So I'm just letting everybody know that The protection part and opening up is great, but the protection part is actually very, very essential. And so there's going to be times when you've actually noticed things that you didn't notice before, or you wouldn't have noticed had you not been working on bringing out your inward self. And then actually your dreams are going to get more vivid.
Yeah.
Because you're visiting. Because as I mentioned, you are opening yourself to their realm, to the dream realm. So
it's funny you should say that, because since I started having more experiences during investigations and stuff, when I have weird dreams, now when I go to sleep, I can actually, there's a period between when you're asleep and when you're awake.
Yes.
And you are awake, but not totally. I've learned I pick up stuff during that period briefly. Like someone will say 2 sentences and I'll hear it. A name, I'll hear it. Something. I've actually learned to extend that period before I wake up. I keep myself there to see if I could hear more and experience more. And as time's gone on the last 4 or 5 years, I've made it longer and longer so I can perceive more. So that's something you almost have to teach yourself when you do it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're in that zone. Hold on to it. You know, don't break yourself out of it. But you got it's hard, but it takes time.
It is hard. It does take time, and it also, what I recommend, that's hard too. But I haven't done it lately, but I used to do it, and it was very rewarding. If you have a dream, and if you have a journal,
I have a dream.
Yeah, I have a dream. That's right. But if you have a journal next to you, or you're able to even have a tape recorder next to you, gosh, I'm old school, aren't I? Or your phone next to you,
or a voice recorder,
right, next to you, and you're able to record what you remembered or what you saw and heard, and then play it back the next day or the next couple of days. Sometimes I say a couple of days because in a couple of days you've had time to take it in and think about it.
Have you ever actually, when you had those, this is what I've been doing, and I taught myself to do it, I'm sure you have too. You're having the dream, you're having the experience, you mentally tell yourself, I saw this person's name written down, remember this name, remember this name.
Absolutely,
get into details. This person said this, make sure you remember that, make sure you remember this.
Right.
So that when I wake up, I do remember.
I have. And also names, faces, and then also remember details. If there was a number, or if there was a certain place that doesn't look familiar, try to remember those details.
Locations,
as well. Absolutely.
Colors.
And this is actually a very ancient technique, because a lot of the ancients used to use the dream realm, as a way to bring back information. They used to actually have dream chambers where they used to go in, and they would go into deep dreaming, and then and some of them were trained to do it. And and it was a way to access the spirit realm.
It's almost like a precursor to our remote viewing now.
Yes.
Because remote viewing is almost like a shoot off of this whole ideology.
Absolutely.
Whereas you're not totally asleep, but you're in a realm where you developed on how you can perceive information.
Right, and then you're able to tell which dreams are dreams that are symbolism, and I don't say throw the symbolism dreams out, because symbolism dreams are supposed to be telling you something you need to know about yourself. And which dreams are actually accessing another realm and spirit visitations. You're going to be able to tell the difference. And sometimes you can, even before you study all of this, you can tell the difference because they feel differently. But this time you're going to be able to really to really work with that. And also when it comes to, there's also little techniques and little things you can do to enhance your dreaming. Like if you say, I want to solve this problem and I want to dream about it, you can actually write it down on a piece of paper, put it under your pillow, and tell yourself over and over again before you go to sleep, I am going to dream about this. I'm going to dream about this. And you do dream about it.
I've done that. I've actually had a dream where I've gotten information and I find it fascinating and I want to know more. I've woken up and then I've gone back to sleep and told myself, go back Go back to where you were. Go back to where you were.
Yeah.
Keep going. Keep getting more information. And I've gone back and gotten more information. So it can be done.
It can
but you mentally have to prepare yourself and know where the zone was and go back in there.
Absolutely, yeah. You have to prepare yourself. It takes preparation, and you can also use tools to help you prepare yourself. You can actually make certain teas that have herbs that help you sleep better, and you can drink those teas, like dream tea, what they call dream tea. It has mugwort and all kinds of herbs, and you can actually buy some mugwort incense and put some incense on in the room, and it'll help enhance the atmosphere so that you can prepare yourself for all of this. So that's those are some techniques that you can make what we call enhanced dreaming. And also learning enhanced dreaming is going to help you, especially if you've had a habit of having nightmares too. And nightmares,
which are just as important as regular dreaming.
They're just as important because they're trying to tell you something. And also nightmares can be a way, we're talking about spirit contact. Nightmares can be a way of spirit contact too, although not the way you necessarily want it. But if you're having it and you're sensing that somebody or something is bothering you, this gives you that extra edge to work with it.
You know, the dreams I have aren't necessarily about me. Whenever I have these weird dreams, sometimes I feel like I'm in the body of another person and going through what they're going through. Whether it's shocking, it's horrible. I've been stabbed, shot, fallen downstairs, been pushed downstairs, fallen over a cliff, things like this that I know it's not me because I'm walking through the woods as this person. I don't know why I'm there, but
you're able to emphasize with them more.
But I can tell it's not me, and I can tell it's another person. And I'm looking through whatever they're looking at. It's really weird.
That's interesting because I don't hear that. Well, I think lots of people have experienced that. They just don't talk about it that way. Yeah,
I think so too. I think they think it's them, like in the dream. Oh, I had a nightmare because I was going through the woods and I fell down the hill or something. But in fact, they're perceiving someone else who's had gone through this experience or is going through that experience at the same time they're sleeping. You never know. It could be parallel.
And sometimes you're picking up on, and believe it or not, if you're in the dream world, sometimes you're picking up on what's going on with other people or other events too.
Yeah.
You're picking up on it, and sometimes you
I think it's possible.
It's very possible. So that's, and as far as spirit communication, you're a lot of the times when you're having a visitation with somebody, and it's somebody who you used to know, a friend, a relative. It's not a random thing, and the reason it's not random is because they're visiting you because they are reviewing their life, and there's something that they need from you. So believe it or not, everybody, when you say, "Oh, I saw my grandpa last night." Well, Grandpa just didn't do it because he wanted to have a fun visit, even though that's very possible. Grandpa is reviewing things, so Grandpa needed to talk to you. So actually, they're doing it because they're trying to prepare their journey. So it's actually more purposeful when you get a spirit visitation. Yeah. And I'm telling everybody, if you get a spirit visitation during a dream, pay very attention to what they're saying to you, because
write it down. It's very important as soon as you wake up to write everything down.
Right, because not only are they preparing for what they need to go through, but they're also preparing you for something too. So write it down and pay attention. And then I'm gonna also give everybody some.
Do you keep a dream journal?
I don't keep one right now. I kept one for the past couple of years, and I was actually looking through it a couple of days ago.
You should kickstart it again now, because then we'll do a future show on dream journals.
I'm going to,
and we'll discuss each other's stuff.
I'm going to start keeping one tonight. Okay, actually.
Cool.
But I was keeping one for the past few years, and actually I was looking through it a couple of days ago, and I actually found some stuff that actually was telling about some life events that I just been through, and I was like, whoa. And I actually was floored, and I thought, wow, I dreamed about this. Okay. You know my cat, Apollo?
Yep.
I have a cat, everybody. His name is Apollo. He's a golden tabby.
She's never told you that before.
Well, for the first-time listeners, I have a cat. His name is Apollo. He's a golden tabby. I dreamed about him before I got him. Mm-hmm. I was in a hotel. It was like a long hall. It was a long hallway. They were open doors, and I had my other 2 cats with me that I used to have, but they were still alive at the time. They walked with me in this hotel, and they opened the door, and I saw this tabby. And they had me go into the hotel room on my own. They didn't go in with me. And I went in this hotel room, and I was petting this cat. And then when my cats died and I was presented with this cat, I recognized it as the cat from my dream.
When you got this Paris, did you have any other cats at the time you got it?
What?
Or they both died and then you got Paris?
Oh, you mean Apollo?
Apollo, sorry.
When they both died, and then I got Apollo.
Okay, so you had a period where you had no cat?
Yeah.
That's interesting. So
that
you
is
had
very
that.
nervous. But they were still alive when I had that dream.
It's almost like you're being introduced to the cat.
I was. It was crazy. So I had this tabby I was petting, and then my cats died, and then there was maybe about a month and a half when I didn't have any cat, and then I was introduced to this cat, and I was told I should adopt him, and then I recognized him immediately. That was the cat from my dream. So
to me, the best cats are the cats that sort of happen to you. Mm-hmm. They're not cats you seek out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? The best cats I've had are the ones that have just dropped in my lap. A friend their cat had kittens. I went over to someone's house and they're like, we can't keep this cat anymore. Mm-hmm. Something like that. It's
you want to keep him, and then the cat loves you. You take him home, and he's meant to be in your life. For some, that cat's meant to be in your life. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what happened with Apollo. So that was actually a dream of spirit communication, but it was with an animal rather than a person. So I'm letting everybody know that if that dreaming about your pet before you get your pet ahead of time is actually a way of a spirit communication as well. It's not just with people. Mm-hmm. So pay attention to all of that. If you see an animal in your dream, write down that animal, because not that you're going to be running across it in real life. I mean, if you dream of a bear, I hope you don't run across it in real life, but
yeah, be careful.
Yeah, or you might, and it could be a warning dream. Who knows?
It happens,
yeah. But sometimes the animals, in the Native Americans, they talk about this. They have certain traits where you're meant to inherit that from that animal. And your spirit animal, and everybody thinks, oh, it's a bunch of hooey, I'm not into animals, but we're very connected with nature. We're all connected. So anyway, your investigations, your spirit contact, everything is going to be greatly enhanced when you work with your inner self and you work with your dreams, and you're being careful, and you're actually learning a lot. And I think that it opens yourself to possibilities. Even if you don't want to do investigating, if you want to learn more about the spirit world, this is going to be something that's going to really help you a lot, and you're going to learn a lot about yourself in the process. So I highly recommend it.
All right, folks, there you go. There's some tips, things you can try. Keeping a dream journal, meditation, like Verna said, go through the different steps, and the longer you do, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it in the long run. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely the best tool you ever have, because it's never going to need batteries. It's never going to break. It's never going to get lost. It's you.
It's you.
You are the most important tool in your arsenal.
You are your inner unit. You are a universe unto yourself.
It's
absolutely true.
All right, folks. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Bye. See you next time.
Royalty-free, copyright-free music by Kevin MacLeod and Ross Bugden.